Hi everyone, this is Anthony. I'll be presenting this week's market recap. Australia's mining sector has been surging this week, particularly smaller firms following the continued rise in iron ore prices and the general sense of a coming upswell in Chinese manufacturing. However, Ladin Resources takes the cake with their stock price nearly doubling this week following the company's release of a drilling report suggesting a major new lithium discovery in one of their Brazilian mines. The growth across mining this week may also be somewhat buoyed by the federal government's $200 million commitment over the next 5 years to support the pursuit of strategically significant critical mineral projects. Although the RBA remains hesitant to raise interest rates despite rising inflation, there is concern that the cash payments to assist middle and low-income families with rising living expenses provisioned in this week's budget will add more upward pressure to inflation. This, according to several economists, could force the RBA's hand to raise interest rates as soon as May. This raise will no doubt institute major financial stress to many homeowners across the country, with the average Aussie household holding a mortgage debt of over $500,000. So moving on to the macro figures and market indexes. So this week the Dow Jones is down only 0.04%. While the S&P 500, Nasdaq and ASX all up this week with 0.11, 0.34 and 1.18% respectively. The Australian dollar holds at 75 cents per US dollar. The cash rate is still at 0.1%, inflation still at 3.5%, and unemployment is now reported at 4%. Microsoft's move to acquire the game developer Activision Blizzard, which, if successful, would make Microsoft the third biggest video game company in the world, has run into some political trouble. On Thursday, US Senators Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker sent a letter to the FTC voicing concerns that the merger could gloss over the importance of numerous sexual harassment claims that have been directed at Activision Blizzard over the past year, as the acquisition may erase the entity Activision Blizzard for the victims to file against. This complication could see a major slowdown in Microsoft's push to increase their gaming market share over the past few years. The launch of Intel's new graphic chips could lead to a serious reshuffling in the industry. The company has been teasing this release since early 2021 as an alternative to Nvidia's and AMD's offerings for customers looking for serious graphic capabilities for both gaming and content creation. This new venture by Intel is no doubt driven in part by the sustained growth in the gaming market, with a growing share being comprised of PC hardware, which made up over 20% of sales in the gaming market just last year. It's a trend which has fueled Nvidia's massive growth over the past 3 years and is something Intel is no doubt looking to cash in on. Intel's presence is already being felt in the market, with Nvidia's stock falling 6% just this week. Finally, the 2022-2023 budget came out this week on the 29th of March. The budget this year seems to balance a push for the next stage of the Treasurer's fiscal strategy, aiming to reduce the size of government debt as a percentage of overall economic activity after heavy spending during the COVID pandemic. This alongside garnering favour amongst the public for the fast-approaching federal election, where the budget walks a tightrope between handing out cash to ease the pain of a rising cost of living and avoiding adding too much fuel to the fire of inflation. Notably, some of the winners in this year's budget were motorists, with a halving of the fuel excise tax, and small businesses who will be able to deduct a bonus 20% of the cost of business expenses and depreciating assets that support digital uptake. This is in the hope of driving improvements in areas such as cloud computing and cybersecurity. This, with another bonus 20% deduction for the cost of external training courses delivered to their employees by providers registered in Australia. And that's it for this week's market recap.